Welcome to the deep dive. Today we've gathered a really fascinating collection of insights for you. It's all centered around safe and, well, captivating travel destinations for 2025.
Yeah, and the sources are pretty varied, aren't they? We've got travel blogs like The Lady Who Travels, Cat is Out of the Office, Altezza Travel, Bookmundi.
Right, travel plus leisure too. And then there's a Reddit discussion which adds a different flavor, plus reports from Forbes and World Population Review.
Quite a mix.
Exactly. And our mission, basically, is to pull out the key information, give you a curated view of where you might travel with, a sense of security, but without sacrificing the culture and the unique experiences.
And acknowledging that safety itself can mean different things to different people.
Absolutely. We want it to be informative, but, engaging too. Okay, so let's dive in.
It's definitely intriguing how this whole idea of safe travel sits like right at the intersection of hard data and just gut feelings, personal experiences. And you see that reflected in the sources, right? You get the stats, but then you get these firsthand accounts that really shape how we think about a place feeling secure.
Yeah, totally. And we've got a great starting point in South America. The Lady Who Travels, she paints this really vivid picture of Cartagena in Colombia.
Ah, the walled city.
Yes. UNESCO site, well-preserved colonial buildings, cobblestone streets. I mean, it sounds just enchanting.
It really does.
And importantly, it seems like they've made a real effort with visitor well-being, especially in the main tourist zones.
That makes sense. You often find that focus on preserving history kind of naturally leads to better safety for visitors, too.
How so?
Well, when a place like Cartagena invests in its heritage sites, like, say, the Castillo San Felipe de Barajas you mentioned, they often increase security to protect those assets. And that protection then benefits the tourists exploring the area. It creates this secure and appealing bubble, almost.
That's a great point. Okay, moving south, Montevideo, Uruguay. This one sounds genuinely relaxing.
Yeah, the descriptions use words like peaceful atmosphere, low crime rates, friendly locals.
And the Rambla, that 13-mile waterfront promenade. You can just picture taking leisurely walks along the coast there.
Definitely. Plus the parks, like Parque Rodó and the historic Ciudad Vieja. It seems like a nice blend of tranquility and culture.
It feels like Montevideo embodies a different kind of safety, not just about low crime stats, but more rooted in, community well-being.
Exactly. It's reflected in those well-maintained public spaces, the welcoming vibe. When there's that emphasis on shared enjoyment, it often makes things safer for everyone.
Right. Then we have Buenos Aires, often
Yeah.
called the Paris of South America.
Which always brings up questions about safety in a big city, doesn't it?
It does, but the sources highlight specific neighborhoods. Recoleta, with its elegant architecture.
Recoleta Cemetery there, too.
Palermo, the Soho and Hollywood bits, trendy cafes, shops, Bosque de Palermo.
And San Telmo, the historic part.
Yeah, and they specifically mentioned seeing police presence there, especially around the Sunday markets.
See, Buenos Aires shows how safety in a big, vibrant city is often localized. It's about knowing the different areas, taking the usual precautions you take anywhere big.
So the info helps you navigate it more confidently.
Precisely, pinpointing their safer pockets.
Okay, Ecuador next. Cuenca. This sounds almost like stepping back in time.
Breathtaking colonial architecture, yeah. Cobblestone streets, ornate churches.
Those blue domes on the new cathedral. And again, a strong emphasis on low crime, especially in the historic center.
Another UNESCO site.
Right. And the mention of well-lit streets, always reassuring if you want to wander around in the evening.
Cuenca seems like another case where preserving history links closely to safety. The architecture makes it pedestrian-friendly, and prioritizing safety in that UNESCO zone shows a conscious effort, doesn't it? Balancing heritage with a secure experience.
Makes sense. All right, further south still. Punta Arenas, way down at the tip of Chile.
Gateway to Patagonia.
Exactly. Serene, secure. So you get this incredible natural beauty right next door, but your base is this calm, safe, smaller city.
Low crime, friendly locals mentioned again. Sounds ideal for exploring Torres del Paine, all those mountains and glaciers.
It really does. Punta Arenas seems to show how safety can be like a key enabler for adventure travel.
Good point. A secure hub lets you confidently tackle those more remote environments. And the friendly locals just add another layer of reassurance.
Okay, Argentina against Salta, up in the north this time.
More colonial charm, beautiful nature.
And that crucial secure atmosphere. They call it Salta la Linda. Salta the beautiful, colorful streets, lively markets.
Sounds lovely. And it's a base for exploring the Andes, right? That train to the clouds.
Yeah, the Tren a las Nubes. Salta seems to be a good example of how smaller regional cities can offer that combo of authentic culture and safety.
Often feels a bit more intimate, maybe more secure than the huge capital sometimes.
And rounding out South America for us is Valparaiso, Chile, the cultural capital.
Artistic, vibrant. I've seen pictures. Those colorful hillsides are amazing.
Yeah. And described as having friendly locals, a welcoming atmosphere. Importantly, safety measures are noted in the main tourist spots like Cerro Alegre and Cerro Concepcion.
So you can wander through the murals and galleries feeling a bit more secure.
Exactly. It's interesting, isn't it? A city known for being artistic, maybe a bit bohemian, but still prioritizing visitor safety in those key areas.
Suggests they know a thriving creative scene benefits from people feeling safe enough to explore it.
Okay, so South America clearly has a lot to offer. Let's broaden out now, look at some global leaders in safety. Iceland. Probably not a huge surprise.
No, it consistently tops those lists. Safest country globally.
Violent crime, practically non-existent, feeling totally safe walking alone. And a big plus, most people speak English. Makes it super accessible.
Very true.
The tip about using Reykjavik as a base and doing day tours instead of driving solo seems practical too. For safety? Maybe, but also just for connecting with people.
Yeah, Iceland's ranking highlights what a stable society with minimal crime looks like. And the day tour suggestion. It's a thoughtful way to handle those vast, sometimes empty landscapes. Balances independence with a bit more security, and like you said, maybe some social interaction.
Right. Then Japan. Often cited as the safest in Asia, and Berkshire Hathaway puts it ninth globally.
The organization there is incredible, isn't it? Public transport.
So efficient. And those little details like single-person seating in restaurants, privacy dividers, it shows a real value placed on individual comfort and security.
Even that rule about phone cameras making a shutter sound, it's a fascinating cultural response to privacy concerns.
It really is. Violent crime is rare, though the Reddit thread did mention potential harassment on crowded trains. A good reminder to stay aware.
Always. But those Koban, the little local police stations, they sound like a fantastic resource for visitors, not just for crime, but for directions, help.
Yeah, like community hubs. Japan's safety seems really woven into the culture order, respect, considering others.
Definitely. Things like women-only train cars, the accessible Koban.
Yeah.
It's a proactive approach. And the Reddit point just reminds us, even in super safe places, specific issues can pop up. Awareness is key.
Switzerland next. Feeling safe walking alone in Zurich, Lucerne. That comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, widely spoken English in tourist areas.
And everything runs with that famous Swiss precision.
Totally. Lucerne described as a fairy tale setting. Sounds magical. And their high rank on the Women, Peace, and Security Index is significant too.
Yeah, that WPS index looks at women's inclusion, justice, security. It suggests a strong societal commitment to equality and safety beyond just crime stats.
The main drawback, though.
The cost. It's definitely pricey.
So the idea of staying in a cheaper nearby country and doing day trips is pretty smart.
Very practical. Switzerland's safety is tied to its stability, strong social systems. But yeah, that level of security and comfort often comes with a higher price tag.
Okay, Singapore. Incredibly low crime rates, often linked to their strict laws.
Right. Feeling safe day or night seems to be the common experience there.
And the MRT system? Super efficient for getting around. Plus, the diversity is a huge draw, Chinese, Malay, Indian influences, especially in the food. Michelin-starred hawker stalls.
Amazing food scene, and apparently very welcoming to solo travelers. Did you see that tip about reserving tables at hawker centers with a tissue packet?
I did. A great little cultural insight. The main things to watch out for seem to be the cost of accommodation.
Yeah, it can be expensive.
And those strict laws.
Yeah.
Jaywalking, littering, vaping, even chewing gum.
Yeah.
Hefty fines. And serious penalties for drug offenses. You really need to know the rules.
Absolutely. Singapore's safety model relies heavily on that strong legal framework and people following the rules. It works, creates a secure environment, but respecting those laws is essential for a smooth trip.
Taiwan, another one highlighted as one of Asia's safest. Excellent infrastructure, welcoming culture.
Strong sense of order, seems like.
Safe, easy public transport, cheap Ubers. Makes navigating easy. And the night markets, legendary. Cheap, delicious food, lively atmosphere, and feeling safe while you're there.
Sounds fantastic.
Maybe less English spoken compared to some places, but the kindness of locals seems to stand out. There was that anecdote about help after a bike accident.
That kind of story speaks volumes, doesn't it? About the general vibe of a place.
Earthquakes are a factor, but the country responds quickly. The Reddit discussion did mention it might be slightly less overtly social for some solo travelers, compared to, say, Thailand, with maybe fewer international hostels.
Right. Taiwan's safety seems like a mix of good governance, strong community, and that culture of orderliness and hospitality. The social scene point just reminds us that different things matter to different travelers.
South Korea, Seoul specifically, often described as feeling incredibly safe.
Great public transport again, though needing local map apps is a good tip. Google Maps isn't the best there, apparently.
Right, never maps or Kakao maps. Less English spoken maybe, but locals generally kind and helpful.
One potential challenge mentioned was eating alone, especially Korean BBQ.
Yeah, some places might not serve solo diners. Food tours were suggested as a good workaround.
Makes sense. And beyond Seoul, there's lots more hikes, temples, Busan.
And that interesting safety feature, again, phones making a shutter sound for photos. To combat upskirting, apparently.
Another specific cultural adaptation for security. There were some mentions of occasional harassment in nightlife areas, though, so, again, awareness needed.
Always. Okay, Canada. Well-deserved reputation for safety, especially for solo female travelers.
Low crime rates, that famous Canadian politeness, rank friendliest country even.
Plus, just huge diversity in landscapes, cities, small towns, the great outdoors. Something for everyone, really.
Canada's safety probably comes from inclusive policies, stability, and yeah, the sheer size means tons of different travel experiences with that friendly culture making you feel secure.
Slovenia next. Ljubljana, the capital, sounds really appealing.
Welcoming, less crowded than some bigger European cities, vibrant, easy to navigate, English spoken, walkable, checks a lot of boxes.
And stunning nature outside the city, Lake Bled, Triglav National Park.
Roads are good for solo road trips, apparently. Renting a car gives you freedom, though public transport is decent too.
Slovenia feels like one of those maybe less obvious, but really attractive, safe options in Europe. Manageable size, good infrastructure, blend of city and nature in a secure setting.
Definitely. Now, El Salvador is maybe a more unexpected name on a safety list.
Right. Reports of rapid safety improvements in tourist areas, San Salvador, El Tunco, due to government crackdowns.
But still with the caveat to stay aware, some areas are still off limits.
Yeah, crucial point. Sources suggest it attracts more solo male travelers right now. And public transport, the chicken buses, can be tricky.
Knowing some Spanish is a big help there too. English isn't widespread.
And you have to acknowledge the government's, well, extreme measures to achieve that safety improvement. Mass arrests, controversial policies.
It's complex. The advice seems to be stick to well-traveled areas, use trusted transport, maybe team up with others, know some basic Spanish.
El Salvador really highlights how fast perceptions of safety can change due to major policy shifts. But it also underlines needing to stay informed and careful, even where things have improved. And that male-female traveler difference is significant.
Very true. Okay, widening the lens again. Europe more broadly.
Western and Northern Europe generally seen as safe for solo women. Austria, Germany, Netherlands often mentioned.
Italy and Spain, generally safe, but higher risk of petty theft in the big tourist zones, pickpocketing, that kind of thing.
Right. And in the Balkans, Montenegro and Croatia get highlighted as particularly safe for the region.
Good to know. And Southeast Asia.
Thailand and Vietnam are the classics, aren't they?
Yeah.
Safe, welcoming, easy to navigate, great food, friendly people, affordable, still very popular for solo female travel.
They definitely have a well-established infrastructure for independent travelers.
Okay, now Africa. This section had some really eye-opening perspective. Mauritius, for instance.
Yeah, ranking incredibly high on the Global Peace Index, higher than many Western European countries and the U.S., 0 on the Terrorism Index.
Amazing. Ghana too peaceful, lower crime rate than Canada or Australia.
Zambia, very low terrorism risk. Namibia doing well in safety reports compared to neighbors.
Even Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, despite regional challenges, reported lower crime rates than many Western nations. Strong development indicators.
And Tanzania, getting more popular safaris, Kilimanjaro, Zanzibar.
It really challenges some common assumptions about safety on the continent, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. This overview is crucial for a more nuanced global picture. It highlights nations making real progress in peace and security. We have to look beyond generalizations and see the specifics for each country.
Definitely. Now, that Reddit discussion adds another layer, that real-world personal experience angle.
Yeah, Taiwan and Singapore get loads of positive mentions for safety there.
But some important points are raised too, like needing to think about safety specifically for women of color.
Right, and the difference between general safety stats and the specific concerns travelers might have.
And the whole discussion about Sweden's rate statistics, how different definitions and reporting confidence can really skew perceptions.
That's a really important point about interpreting data.
Then you have the contrasting views on the UAE. Some feel perfectly safe, others report harassment, or find the norms restrictive. Shows how subjective it can be.
Totally. Even Denmark, usually seen as very safe, had anecdotes about less safe areas.
The main takeaway from the Reddit thread seems to be, use common sense, stay aware, no matter the reputation. And people shared positive stories from places not always top of the safest lists.
Those personal insights are invaluable. They complement the stats and remind us safety isn't just one thing. It's crime rates, yes, but also individual experiences, feelings, cultural context. It's multifaceted.
Right. And finally, just thinking about how these rankings are made, Berkshire Hathaway mixes traveler surveys with indices like the Global Peace Index.
While Kat is out of the office, specifically looks for a low-crime, women-friendly policies, general security for solo women, different focuses.
It just reinforces that feeling safe is so personal. It can vary hugely.
Understanding the methodology behind any ranking is key to reading it critically. Different data, different criteria mean different results. And yeah, ultimately, feeling secure is subjective, shaped by who you are, where you're from, your comfort levels.
So wrapping up this deep dive.
Yeah.
Wow. We've seen this fascinating range of places consistently highlighted as safe for 2025. Charming, secure spots in South America.
The incredibly organized, safe environments in East Asia.
And those emerging peaceful destinations in Africa, alongside the usual suspects in Europe and Oceania.
Yeah.
For me, the real aha moments were things like seeing how history preservation boosts safety in Cartagena, or that peaceful coastal security in Montevideo.
The way safety is defined in specific areas of a big city like Buenos Aires.
Right. And the ecotourism linked to safety, like with Costa Rica mentioned in one source context, or those big improvements in El Salvador.
And the contrasting views on places like Sweden or the UAE really hammer home that you need to look beyond just the headline crime stats. Yes, I think the sheer diversity of what constitutes a safe travel experience is a major takeaway. It's not just about avoiding bad things. It's finding places where you feel confident enough to really engage, explore, make memories.
Well said. Those aha moments show all the different factors that feed into that feeling of safety and well-being. And that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. As you start planning your own travels, how much weight are you going to give objective safety data versus, your own gut feelings, your comfort level, the specific things you want to do?
And maybe what overlooked places might actually offer that perfect mix of security and unique culture that you haven't considered yet.
Something to ponder. Thanks for diving deep with us today.